So I've been playing with this Lamy 2000 fountain pen for a few months now, and I just wanted to deliver some thoughts on it. There's been a ton of reviews published, so there's really no reason to do another review, but I figured I would drop some quick thoughts as people are interested in the pen. So first of all, I bought it because I wanted an affordable gold nib pen, and I think it really serves that purpose well. These things go for between, I'd say, $120 and $180, depending on where you buy it from, what nib you get, and that sort of thing. But there is a surprising amount of price variance, and if you're willing to buy it from from Amazon or something like that, you could save some money. But if you want it from a real pen dealer, then you're probably gonna spend some more. So with that out of the way, I just wanted to go through some good and some bad things about the pen. While doing that, I'll do some writing and I'll show off the pen. But again, there's a lot of examples of this pen online, so won't have to get into it too much. Just for reference, this is the standard medium Lamy 2000. So what I like about it, mostly is that it's low key and it sort of disappears in your hand. When you're holding it, it's nice and light. It's shaped in a comfortable way so that you can hold it in a lot of different places and really feel like it is very natural. The downside of this is there's no real clear area where you're supposed to hold it. So I have noticed my hand gets tired over time. I tend to put my finger on this little nub right here. And what that's supposed to do is hold the cap in place. The cap has goes in and it feels like it's on at this point, but it's not really on. You keep pushing it, feels like it's on, not quite yet. Really push it, it clicks, and now you know it's on. And that is that little, there's two of these little nubs and they will engage. They're not sharp, they are barely noticeable when you're holding it. So I actually put my thumb over it and I find that is a really nice way to hold the pen. Another thing I like about it is the craftsmanship of this is quite nice. This is like a plastic, like fiberglass called Makrolon, and I would think that would be a downside, but this stuff is actually quite tough and it holds up really nicely. Plus it is, let's see if we can get this to zoom in, it's brushed lengthwise. So that sort of striated look is not only very cool, but it hides the seams. You could barely make out that seam right there. It hides this seam incredibly well. And you can open up the pen right there to refill it. But the seam is blended in almost perfectly, which is very nice. Additionally, the seam here, where the metal meets the fiberglass or the Makrolon, is pretty much perfect. You cannot feel any join between the two, so that's super nice. So again, craftsmanship, top notch. Lastly, I would say a big advantage of this pen is that the resale value is really phenomenal. So if you buy this pen and you don't like it and you keep it in good condition, you can sell it for very close to what you bought it for. So the risk of buying this pen is quite minimal. As for the downsides, let's do some writing first. We'll get into those actually. So this is the Lamy 2000 medium point. It's a very smooth pen. It writes very nicely. This is on a Clairefontaine Triumph paper, which is on the smooth side and somewhat ink resistant. Like I said, I found this pen to be very smooth. It is one of my only gold nib pens. I've had many, but I haven't kept them, I would say. So, some nib variation, not a ton, but definitely some. Again, if you want more of a review, there's 1,000 of those out there. As for what I don't like about the pen, I think the cap fit feels a little bit imprecise. I put it on partially a bunch of times. I find that to be a little bit annoying. I have felt some hand fatigue just because I don't always know where to put my fingers. Again, I have settled on keeping my thumb over the little cap nub there, but it does drift now and then, and it's not like there's a clear area for your fingers, so that's fine, but not ideal. I find that I want to kind of do a death grip on it, which I don't like, and that's just because it's a little bit slippery, and again, there's no very clear indentation or anything for your fingers. But all in all, one last downside is the ink window, which is right here, is pretty much useless. You know, if you were going to hold this up to the light or hold it up to the sun or something, maybe you could tell if there's ink there or not, but for all intents and purposes, the ink window here, it doesn't do anything. And so I guess it was a nice idea, and you could probably tell that the pen is low, but it's really not great. So that's a little bit disappointing because while this pen has good capacity, I can't really feel like I know what to expect when I'm grabbing it. So lastly, we'll just wrap this up with final thought, and that is the Lamy 2000 worth it? And I would say overall, yes, it is worth it. It's a nice pen, and it seems to be universally loved by people that buy it. For me, it's not really my favorite. It's not the pen I go and grab. I tend to go with a TWSBI lately. I just feel a little bit more comfortable with a cheaper pen, and I find them to be a little bit more comfortable to write with. If I were to buy a Lamy 2000 over again, I believe I would go with the Broad, just because it's a little bit more fun for me to write with, but I think the medium is very nice. So yeah, I think that pretty much summarizes it. And the too long didn't read version of this would be, this is a pen that offers a huge amount of value, but it's really not my favorite. Thanks for watching.